Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 3 in this series. We have AcerBly spawning as the red Zerg on the bottom left-hand side of Derelict Watchtower. Meanwhile, JJAKJI spawning as the blue Terran on the top right. This is a Terran versus Zerg so far, and so far we have the series all tied up at 1 game apiece. Now, JJAKJI in the early stages of Game 1 was able to get a really strong economic advantage and then just turn that into a very easy victory. Game 2 was a little bit more of a brawl, drag out fight between these two players, and Bly was able to actually come out on top in just a moment. It looks as though both of the players are all set up. One of the benefits of casting from a replay is I do not have to worry about pauses actually interfering with my cast and trying to fill in dead space time. But let's take a look at what these players are doing so far. Derelict Watchtower, pretty small map. You can see where your opponent is pretty much. Once you fly that Overlord, you know where your opponent is already. You got a very large, wide open center, except for the fact that the center is an untraversable terrain. So flanking around this one particular doodad, I would call it, is very important. Zerglings trying to get a good flank. Zerglings generally want very large open fields, and that's where you have right beyond the center location here. So both sides should be able to get good flanking onto each other. You can see a quick hatchery has been placed down by Bly, and Bly is going for that economic opening, opting to go hatchery first, followed by spawning pool, and then double queens, perhaps getting his gas a little bit later. Meanwhile, JJAKJI is actually opening up with a command center first. Very interesting choice here. Oh, the supply depot was not raised up in time. You can see now this SCV is trying to do a little bit of battle here. It is going to engage, and there you have it. Now a second SCV coming and making its way over, as these SCVs are going to be pretty much very well prepared. This drone looks like it could take a little bit of damage. Yes, it does. Now down to 11 hit points. It will take 3 shots from that fusion cutter in order to deal more damage. As that drone is still wandering around, it looks as though that drone should be able to get away, or at least be very annoying in terms of scouting. Oh, this one SCV looks like it could have been taken down. It looks as though another shot of damage there. That drone still needing 2 more shots of damage. As we can see that JJAKJI, it looks as though that drone's days are pretty much numbered. 2 more shots will do it once again. Constantly regenerating those hit points. One of the benefits and annoying factors for drones. Coming back across, you can see that Bly is getting up his 2 queens. He will be heavy up on production. Meanwhile, the SCVs are still doing a little bit of a song and dance here. Oh, the supply depot does raise up just in time, as JJAKJI is now going to be trying to chase after that drone. However, he will be forced to deal with a handful of Zerglings. This is a very heavy Zergling count, much higher than I would have normally expected. You can see that there is 1 Marine right over here. You can see it's now going to grow up and be an extractor, delaying even further. Meanwhile, the Zerglings are already making their way out across the map. Bly is looking very strong here. You can see, yes, there is going to be a Marine inside that bunker. You can see the Marines are now trying to make their way over, as the drone now trying to make its way back out. All right, you can see a supply depot trying to come into play. Oh, the Zerglings are going to have a very easy time there. There goes one. There is the supply depot, and now 1 Marine, which had a very good wall, all of a sudden gets canceled. That's very bad news there, as the SCVs are now making their way over. All right, 1 Marine with a whole bunch of SCVs trying to work together. You can see the damage is being dealt, and all of those Zerglings are going to get taken out. A lot of SCVs were lost in this battle. You can see the workers killed, already up to 6, but that still does not really show the number of Zerglings that were lost here. Let's take a look at the unit worker count. It is 20 to 13. So yes, that is very high. Now training up even 8 more drones at a time, and now JJAKJI is going to be forced to try and train up a lot of SCVs. This front door will be completed. Income tab is about the same now that we are adding in more mules. 2 mules down here at the natural expansion, and we are going into a tech lab, and it looks like Banshee play is what's next on the menu. So far, though, 1 Overlord in the center, a 2nd Overlord now scouting around the back there. Very aggressive play by Bly, opting to get in a couple of early Zerglings. Those Zerglings did deal a lot of damage. Units lost 17 compared to 10. 10 workers lost compared to, I believe, 16. I believe it's 16 Zerglings, which is compared to 8 there. But you can take a look at the harvester count. 34 drones compared to 21 SCVs. Things are looking good for Bly if he's able to capitalize on his economic advantage. So far, all Bly is doing is taking this time, placing down creep tumors, and letting that slowly spread across the map. The third drone already making its way over here. This is a very easy third base to defend since there is not a ramp here. However, Reapers and Banshees can fly over that, and that is starting to get very close to your opponent. Harassments and elevator drops are within the realm of possibility, as we're looking at Bly now setting up these overlords all across the map. Alright, in comes the Banshee. The Banshee does not have Cloak, as you can notice here. Cloak does take 25 energy to even initiate, but no cloaking problems whatsoever, as we are also going into double training of Widow Mines. Now, Zerglings are very, very good at detonating Widow Mines, and I'm curious as to how that is going to work. You can see also the Banshee now making its way over, and the Banshee may be able to get some easy shots off onto this hatchery, but there's no drones there, so with no drones, the Banshee doesn't have any easy targets. Meanwhile, Bly has a very good creep spread all across the map. Queens are already in position, and is it going to get one drone? Yes, it does, but one drone at the cost of 99 hit points on this Banshee. That is not good news at all, and even with a Viking now on the way, perhaps this Viking will have a little bit more luck. Viking now hunting red overlords, going to be able to shoot them down fairly quickly. You can see that Viking just doing a little bit of that move and shoot, and it's going to work out pretty well. There goes one overlord, a second overlord, and perhaps even a third overlord could get taken down. Meanwhile, you can see that there is this one Banshee here, but the Banshee will need to back off. No, it's going to get shot down very quickly. There goes an overlord. No, the overlord was able to escape, and with the transfusion may actually stay alive. All right, one more shot, one more round, and it's going to go ahead and get taken down there. The Viking does get 2 kills. One overlord does book it on back home and is able to survive, as the Vikings are still looking for perhaps some more outlying overlords and forcing his opponent to just reduce the amount of natural sight that he has. You can see that there is overlords here and here as well. That's something we can see on the mini-map. However, JJAKJI does not know where those overlords are at all. Viking now making its way over to that third base. Meanwhile, the orbital command is going to be slightly delayed in landing. That creep is going to prevent anything, any landing from going on. Oh, the Viking looked like he was on his way back and now decided to make his way over here instead, even furthering delay that one orbital command. Okay, it looks as though the overlord will get taken down here, but this is just all just maneuvering of pieces early in the game. Queen now taken down there as well. So far, you can see that the orbital command is just sitting up in the air. Widow Mind is in position to try and detonate onto some Zerglings, and this game looks like it will be going for a very long time, as we're finally transitioning into Mutalisks by Bly. Bly using Mutalisks on this map. Very, very fast moving units, very good at raising this third base here, but there's already a missile turret being established. One missile turret is as effective as 4 Marines, and they even get an additional +1 range. Perhaps an extra missile turret or 2 would completely shut down any sort of harassment, especially with a Widow Mine on the far side. Bly's response, however, is going to be setting up 4 bases, and Bly is now sitting on 63 drones. I am surprised that he doesn't have a stronger drone advantage. It looks as though JJAKJI was able to even things up a bit more than I expected in the coming moments. But if you take a look at it, we are going into level 1 weapons upgrades as well. Alright, Mutalisks now trying to fly inside here. It looks as though it's going to find some very easy SCVs to take down. There goes 2 already, 3, 4, 5, and how many SCVs are going to get taken out here? This is a little bit of a late response. As you can take a look, the Mutalisks may be able to just completely back off. Still sitting at, I believe, 11 Mutalisks total. This flock of Mutalisks here will regenerate back up to full hit points in pretty much no time flat and be able to re-pressure, leaving and forcing a handful of Marines back at this main base here, especially to try and cover up all of these precious buildings and these SCVs. Alright, Medevac is still in position here. You can see a couple of Widow Mines, a Widow Minefield all being laid across as a Medevac will get destroyed there. Mutalisks quickly intercepting, and this game is going so well in favor of Bly. He has the Mutalisks to shut down the Medevacs. He has the Zerglings for very, very fast response time. The creeps is already spread across 2/3 of the map and growing, as we see a 4 base to 3 advantage, and now we're going into some spine crawlers as well. Alright, the missile turret getting some shots off there, however, not quite within range. There is the bunker, and all of those Mutalisks, some of them do get shot out of the sky there. The Mutalisks, however, just gonna back away, regenerate those hit points, and then try and live to fight, or will live to fight another day. No trying about it. So far, JJAKJI sitting on his 3 bases. He is slowly building up his Terran Bioforce. You can also see the Marines are just making their way out as well. We may see a couple of creep tumors getting destroyed. Oh, quickly, I believe they were canceled. Canceled there. Oh, and instead, yes, redeployed back off to the north. Very, very fast response time, as the Mutalisks may be able to come inside. No, they're just going to get shot by those Marines. The Marines are extremely fast right now. And because of the relatively short range on those Mutalisks, even if the Mutalisks tried to run away straight up, the Marines with Stim would have been able to get off maybe 2, even 3 more rounds of attack onto those fleeing Mutalisks, and that is just not good news for them. Alright, the Overseer is now moving much faster, I believe, as fast as those Mutalisks essentially, and will be able to catch sight and perhaps shoot them, shoot down those Widow Mines before the Widow Mines do too much damage. However, the problem is going to be the range on the Widow Mine is much, much stronger. Marines still moving around the map, going to go ahead and take down more creep tumors, and instead we're going to take a look at the Mutalisks go ahead and try to take down this base here. What's going to happen next? Going to go ahead and take down 2 barracks right as they're being constructed, and may even get a free missile turret. Yeah, that missile turret has been challenged. All the units now trying to run back home. Marines are in position as the Mutalisks and Overseers are in position. Alright, the Widow Mines do burrow themselves, and this is just a dangerous spot for Bly to be in. He has lost a lot of units in this engagement. It looks as though he may take down an engineering bay, but at what cost, as he is now trapped with this group of units there. Alright, down goes the engineering bay, actually giving more Marines, or more space for those Marines to attack, but those Mutalisks still surprisingly with a lot of hit points, able to fly around, and now may try and take down a couple of those Widow Mines as well. The Widow Mines, however, not burrowing in time. And with that, both sides with just taking terrible losses, the Thor is now out on the field, and I am just curious as to what exactly Bly was thinking. It looks as though it is going to be Bling, Mutaling, Banelings, Zerglings, and Mutalisks now making their way out to the center of the map. You can see also there is a Thor and Marines now trying to engage. However, everything is currently revealed, and oh, that could be a huge hit there. A huge Baneling splash. There's some melting on top of everything to go, as you can take a look at those Banelings trying to melt down even more damage. 107 versus 149, and JJAKJI comes out smelling like a rose, sitting at 133 supply compared to 115. Alright, give me one moment. Alright, welcome back, and hopefully I'm a little bit more focused here as we're just completely fighting away. However, there are no more Mutalisks, meaning that these Medevacs can actually make a very, very strong play, and they are going to be making a play here on the bottom left. There are Marines already dropping down from the sky. Banelings are now trying to show up. Meanwhile, another simultaneous drop happening over here by Bly, or happening onto Bly. Bly, however, cleaning that up pretty quickly as another drop now going inside the main base. Alright, these groups of Marines now waiting for something, apparently not realizing that there's a war going on. The Marines now trying to engage there. There's another hot pickup once again. A couple of Marines didn't get the memo to leave. There goes one Medevac, as now those 2 Medevacs will be able to escape. However, another force of Marines coming in, and this is just a flat-out war of attrition. Both sides attacking with a lot of forces, and it looks as though these Marines are going to be able to shoot down this debris very, very quickly, and then try and just storm up and down that ramp. The creep tumor should be able to spot this. Yes, it does spot this all right over here. And now here we go. More Marines should be making their way in. Not quite sure what's going on with the rest of those Marines, though. Perhaps laying back and trying to just sit back for just a moment. Here we go. Banelings now trying to make their way in. They may find their way inside that mineral line, and this could be huge, taking down a handful of SCVs right there. However, this larger attack force is going to be the main problem here. Once again, there goes the Marines. They're ready to charge on in. And there you have it. Ultralists are now lying in wait. Banelings are right there as well. And here we go. Here comes the flank. What's going to be happening? They're trying to just back themselves up against the wall, making sure that the Widow Mines and the Marines on the high ground are able to get in some easy free shots. Changelings in the center not really doing much there. Meanwhile, Zerglings are lying in wait here. Planetary Fortress does have a handful of kills, could just fend off any sort of Zergling attacks pretty easily. And JJAKJI is making this game look very, very easy. He's just constantly rebuilding with Marines, Marauders, and Widow Mines. That is the force that he's sticking to, and he's really sticking to it. Constantly just training up those units. Perhaps adding in a handful of Thors now to deal with Ultralists and those Medivacs as well. But this is still looking very strong here as we're now waiting for a number of Marines and Marauders to make their way out to the center portion of the map. Now, what's in store for Bly? Bly has currently just been engaging, and he hasn't been engaging all that well. The problem is the fast mobility of the Marines in those Medivacs has really shut down any sort of play that Bly wanted to do. Also, with that transition from Mutalisks into Ultralists, which is generally a much more durable army, he doesn't have the ability to intercept those Medivacs nearly as much. However, he is now getting a couple of Infestors, and those Infestors, if they're able to land a very successful hit on this Bioforce, could be absolutely devastating. Chain fungal growth, perhaps one of the most scary things for Marines, as they just sit there and watch all of their friends die. They can't even move to try and run away, as the what is this? The infested Terrans now joining in on the fight. The infested Terrans, if you remember, there was a change where they no longer get upgrades. That's one of the reasons why infested Terrans are nowhere near as strong. All right, in comes an Ultralist, and yes, as you guys may have noticed, Marines are allergic to Ultralist hugs, and we now see the Marines are now just making their way across the center here. Marines and a whole bunch of Widow Mines now trying to make their way in here. It looks like it's going to be a very, very quick burrow. The drilling claws have been upgraded, so that 1 second burrow time is going to be absolutely huge. It looks as though the Ultralist is just going to eat up a whole bunch of shots there, and yes, he eats up a whole bunch of Widow Mine attacks. I believe he ate a handful. No, he only ate one. Alright, that was a big surprise there. I thought the cooldown, I thought it would absorb more damage, but apparently not. There's a huge fungal growth, though. There's another fungal growth, and with so many fungal growths just landing on top of all of those Widow Mines, the Widow Mines pretty much with nowhere to run, and now with this semi-static wall of spine crawlers, we're going to take a look at what's going to be happening next. Alright, this one Ultralist wants to get more shots in. You can see a Thor is right in position to try and deal more damage. There's also a couple of Corruptors in the backfield, and here comes the devastating force. Overseers in the air. Ultralists, however, getting all just choked up on themselves. The fungal growth, however, dealing a lot of damage, and now Bly coming out of this and smelling like a rose, as he's going to take down not another fungal growth, allowing all of those Medivacs to escape. You need to leave 75 energy for a fungal growth. All of those Medivacs now repairing themselves and will be able to come back in, and I believe that could have been a game-changing play right there. That is a whole bunch of Medivacs, another 10 supply, over 1,000 resources right there in Medivacs, which would have been lost forever. JJAKJI, however, playing it smart now, knowing that there is fungal growth and knowing that he needs to repair those Medivacs. Otherwise, one fungal growth could be absolutely devastating because of the losses, even when you factor in the units inside. Alright, Medivac now doing a bit of a fly around on the far side here. You can take a look. There is a hatchery being placed down there, but that is not going to be held for a very long time. JJAKJI does not know about it. Meanwhile, you can see the Zerglings have made their way over and is now going to get some easy shot and easy damage onto some of these SCVs. SCVs are upgraded 0-3, but it doesn't matter compared to these 3-2 Zerglings. Marauders now making their way over as well. The Zerglings going to go ahead and just tear through. There is a fungal growth. Ultralists now making their way over as well, and this is going to be the end of that there. Down to 385 hit points. but still more than enough hit points to try and harvest more and more minerals. Overseer does spot all of those widow mines there. It looks as though the Marines and the Marauders are now going to be backing off, and you can see that those Marines are now still trying to chase this Overseer. A couple of Changelings sitting right there, and what's going to be happening next, actually giving his opponent that Xel'Naga tower. All right, coming across here, you can see Medivacs, Marines, Marauders going to try and engage. There's a couple of Widow Mines still lying in wait, ready to go. Another Planetary Fortress, soon to be Planetary Fortress, on the move somewhere else. And it looks as though all those units are just going to try and run back again. 199 versus 196. All the units, are they ready to go? Broodlords have been lowered onto the field. Broodlings now going to start engaging. And Broodlords... Infestor Broodlord is such a strong combination back in the Wings of Liberty days, and still such a potent combination now, as Bly completely surprises his opponent with this flock or murder of Broodlords, dealing so much damage. They are upgraded 2-1, and those Broodlings upgraded as well. Alright, there you have it. A couple of fungal growths coming in. The Widow Mines. Oh, the Widow Mines trying to burrow themselves. Are they going to get shots off on those Broodlords? It looks like shots were fired, however, just hanging up on all of those Broodlings instead, and that was a horrible mistake. Bly really dodging a bit of a bullet there, as those Broodlings are now just chasing after those units. Broodlings now dead. Infestors now trying to make their way over as well. Are we going to see some more fungal growth? No fungal growth coming in, as we are really, really low on mana on all those units, as we're now fighting a battle here at the 12 o'clock position. Those Broodlords, very devastating. You can see Vikings now being trained up, but this is a complete surprise, and this push by Bly may be the beginning of the end here, as the Marauders and the Marines are just trying to figure out what to do next. Alright, the Vikings are now in position. The Broodlords need to be very careful. The Vikings are now just going to snipe down all of these Broodlords one at a time. What's going on? I thought he pulled back with all of his units. That is not the case. Where are those Corruptors? As all the Broodlords are now going to get shot down. The Vikings completely take down the opponent, as the Corruptors are still in the backfield not doing anything. Alright, this was a horrible miscalculation. The Corruptors needed to be in that fight about 20 seconds earlier. All the Broodlords, or at least half of them, would have survived. Maybe half of them did survive, as 4 of them is still right here. And now let's take a look at this command center gonna get taken down. And it looks like, yep, the Corruptors are just gonna have a very, very easy time trying to take down this command center, as it accidentally lifts off to only get taken down by those Corruptors here. Alright, number of bases. We're looking at, I believe, 2 operational mining bases, now trying to strip mine what's left of that natural expansion. Drones now doing that walk of shame, trying to transfer to another location, not realizing that there's another group of Marauders and Marines right there. It's going to get picked up and then perhaps dropped off somewhere else again. Spine crawlers are in position, but they are slowly taking damage over time. No creep tumor there whatsoever. Try and heal those up. That spine crawler, those spine crawlers may actually get to about half life, if not lower, before that hatchery comes back into play. So far, we are looking at a handful of Zerglings also making their way here at the 3 o'clock position. Crazy attacks all around the map, and this is just the crazy macro war I was expecting here on Derelict Watcher. And now we're taking a look, and now even Ravens being added. Ravens with that Seeker Missile, only 75 energy to cast, no longer needing that research, and that is also extremely strong. Alright, Marauders now looking to force this hatchery to get cancelled. It looks as though it is going to get cancelled. Yes, it does. Cancelled or destroyed right there. It looks as though, yes, we are going to be growing up to be another hatchery. The spine crawlers, if they just uproot themselves, will no longer take bleeding damage. If you did not know that, always uproot your spine crawlers. If you believe that they are just going to die, they will no longer be rooted in on non-blight. Non-creep, and because of that, they do not take damage over time. It looks like those spine crawlers will be lost there. Drones now making their way off over here to the top left-hand side of the map. It looks like they'll all have a very, very long walk back home just because they were unable to save that hatchery. There goes the spine crawlers. Spore crawler is still left, but with the lowering number of resources and the growing army of Bly, JJAKJI does not look so hot in this situation. Alright, let's take a look at the army size. 131 versus 128. Worker supply 57 to 37. The income is going to be slightly artificially higher for JJAKJI, at least for a little while, as he is mining with those mules. Coming back around, you can see with 4 Ravens in the air, Medivacs, Vikings, Marines, Marauders, Widowmines, that is going to be looking to be the devastating force to try and clean up everything else. It is going to come down to this last fight. Who's going to come out on top? You can see a whole bunch of infestors. And infestors versus Ravens is always a very interesting scenario. All right, there you go. You can see that the Vikings are now coming in. What's happening? Oh, a beautiful fungal growth landing down onto all of those Marauders and Marines, and just constantly placing them down there. You can see that it is absorbing a lot of the energy at the very least, as the Broodlords are now making their way over. A new murder of Broodlords has arrived to the party. The Vikings are still right there. There are Corruptors nearby to act as protection, but this could be very, very devastating. All right, you can take a look. Broodlings now dropping down as well. Overseers do spot all of these Widow Mines. We are going to see an engagement here. Do we see some secret missiles? Both sides fighting it out. And it looks as though the Thors are now going to try to pummel their way down onto these Broodlords. I believe that they're using the upgraded cannons for the massive attack. No way to really tell what they're using right here, as we see some fungal growth now coming in. All right, Bly looking like he is just on top of things here, taking down all of these units. He is surrounded, but he doesn't care. He also laid down a whole bunch of infested Terran, and with this group of infested Terran now, this base is not long for life. All right, Broodlords, Infestors, SCVs, I believe, trying to repair. Corruptors are all right there as well. And this is going to be the end of this massive battle here in the bottom right-hand side of the map. Down goes this orbital command. We are now sitting at 196 to 74. A huge victory for Bly, as JJAKJI needs to figure out where he went wrong. He had his opponent completely surrounded, but the problem was he was fighting uphill, and his opponent had just laid down so much damage with those Broodlords. Better units, and also that AoE damage from that fungal growth. Also with those infested Terrans burrowed into play, dealing so much damage here. All right, Overseers, Corruptors still in position. Zerglings now trying to clean up what is left, and I believe cleanup is all that's going to be happening. Cleanup back at home between base number 2 and base number 3, as the Corruptors now chasing everything all the way back home. All right, no more mining happening here. No, or minimal mining happening at the 12 o'clock location. Only 80 minerals a minute. And there is the JJAKJI unable to take game number 3. AcerBly taking a 2-1 lead in this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 3.